Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are new around here, consider subscribing as we release an update just like this one every single day at 1 p.m. UK time, where we don't just cover the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but we look at the markets from a technical point of view, and we also look at a broader scope of markets than just the crypto space, as I believe there is correlation in markets, and looking further afield, like the currency markets, the dollar in particular, the stock market, will help us gain an advantage in regards to where we think this space may or may not go. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We've got a really big update for you because, of course, yesterday you had a lot of ETF decisions that were set to have an initial deadline of the 2nd of September. It's the 1st of September today, 2nd of September would be a Saturday. Very likely that it was going to come on today, Friday, or Thursday, and you actually had the SEC come out and delay all of those ETFs again. Now, that was quite an obvious outcome, I believe. The Bitcoin price didn't really appreciate it. Right now, there's not a lot holding Bitcoin up, and it's going with the path of least resistance. So I'm going to start things off, as always, with the charts. Then we'll move on to what the SEC has essentially done or did yesterday in regards to the delay. Then we'll talk about what's happening today in regards to non-farm payroll. We're going to look at REKTEMBER and the possibilities of it playing out again. Now, if it does play out again, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, and I'm expecting it at this point and preparing for it, that if REKTEMBER plays out, it's going to give you one of the greatest generational entries for the cryptocurrency market ever. The crypto revival is well and truly here, guys. Bitcoin has led the way. Altcoins have just gone sideways. Ultimately, you know, trying to time the bottom on altcoins is easier said than done. How do you apply risk management to an industry that moves 5, 10, 15% in a day? Okay, when it comes to altcoins, you're going to be taking 5% haircuts, consistently getting in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So from an investment point of view, we don't really try and do that. We try and pick entries. We try and DCA when it suits. And if you want to find out more about what I've bought, where I've bought, we're now looking at some crypto stocks that we think are going to offer that are essentially higher betas of Bitcoin, related to Bitcoin, but offer a substantial return. Please do consider joining the Patreon. And then I'm going to move on to a clip of this gentleman here, Mr. Johnson, talking about the SEC's shambolic practice when it comes to regulating and kind of policing the cryptocurrency market. They are a complete joke, and they continue to stall the inevitability of this industry. An ETF is coming, ladies and gentlemen, and actually a delay is not a denial, and it's progress from where we were a while ago. You know, I've been in the cryptocurrency space for long enough to really appreciate just how far it's come in regards to the representation we're getting in Congress. The likes of BlackRock perhaps saying that they want to issue a spot Bitcoin ETF and they see Bitcoin being a global asset. You know, it is truly a very positive time for crypto, regardless of the price action. But price action is very important. So let's start off, as always, with the charts. We're still adhering to market structure, but it doesn't look like we're going to continue to do so. That's my base case right now. This is a terrifying weekly candle. You know, you've got a doji here into potentially a spinning top, although it's not at the top. Nothing particularly great comes after these kind of candles. It's very opposite to this one here as a good example. You know, you're kind of being driven in the one direction. You are coming into the month of September, which historically is called REKTEMBER. If you look at Bitcoin over the past, I think it's 10 years, only two, nearly 11 years, only two of these have essentially been green months, and it's been marginally, the rest of them have been downward months. However, this leads into October, November, and September could be your real opportunity, your real bargain basement. But we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. So you are still adhering to structure. We did speak about the potential, and I'm not an Elliotician, but it's very apparent, and I have read lots of books on Elliott wave theory. I've studied Ralph Elliott and some of his comments on the whole debacle. We did look at the fact that, okay, this could be your ABC, or this could be your ABC, and maybe you have completed that, okay? And that is going to potentially tie in with, yeah, we can stay on the 4-hourly. What could be deemed a head and shoulders. It's not a perfect one in my opinion. The only one where it's kind of perfectly formed is on Bitfinex, which had a lot of liquidations take place on the 17th of August. So, and I don't really like, this is a very shit right shoulder. So I'm not convinced that this is going to play out to the downside. And if this did play out to the downside, just a rough target, you'd be looking at coming down to the low 20s into this kind of region down here, which would be, of course, where you spilt from FTX. So it's a potential, it's a scenario that we've got to look out for. You know, like I say, on this channel, we aren't just bears or bulls. We're not one or the other. We're very bullish on the long-term prospects and believers in the long-term prospects of crypto. But we'll be bearish when we need to and we'll be bullish when we need to. You know, we stayed out of the market for all of 2022, pretty much, and we only got back in at the start of the year. And we assessed a fundamental change in the market that I think we've got a lot of credibility for calling in regards to, you know, Bitcoin, what it's done, the stock market, what it's done, the dollar, what it did. However, altcoins really have just gone sideways, which is a fundamental change, I guess, from going down. But you know, they aren't doing too well with a complete lack of interest. So there is the potential for some sort of a head and shoulders here to form that could see you with this sort of A, B, C wave down. The C wave still to come going into REKTEMBER. In my humble opinion, there's probably a little bit more probability in regards to things that are stacked against you for that happening than there are for the short, and this is short term. Mid to long term, still very bullish. We've done a lot of macro analysis, so on and so forth. You guys will be well aware of it. Short term, you know, you've got to go with what the market's telling you, and it's not telling you there's a great deal of strength here. We had expressed throughout this period over here our kind of concern that we weren't really sure short term what way it was going. A volatile move was going to come. We weren't sure if it was going to be up or down. Consolidating at 30k, broke to the downside. You know, you had a little a bit of a rally on the grayscale news, very low volume, and it's basically been all retraced, likely on the fact that the SEC delays decisions on Bitcoin ETFs from firms including BlackRock, Fidelity, WisdomTree, I think was the first. The Securities and Exchange Commission said Thursday that it would delay decisions on spot Bitcoin ETF proposed from BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, VanEck, WisdomTree, Invesco, and Valkyrie at least until mid-October. Rocktober. What can we call October? Come up with some analogies for it in the comment section. The delay has been widely accepted. I believe so. You've got a very low volume market. The price of Bitcoin is trading on shorts getting overzealous, longs getting overzealous, and liquidated, and it's moving it. This is officially from the Commission. The Commission finds it appropriate to designate a longer period within which to take action on the proposed rule change, so that it has sufficient time to consider the proposed rule change and the issues raised therein, the agency said, referring to the proposed WisdomTree fund. So, here we are. It's a long battle against the SEC, but we will persevere, guys. We will get through it. I've never been more excited to be in the crypto space than right now, and that's truthful. And you know, that's as someone that on some altcoins are slightly down, some altcoins slightly up. You know, not really a lot has happened. It's been a frustrating year for me from an investment point of view. Not every year is going to be spectacular, but the main thing is that we get out of the real bears and we get in when we think a bull's occurring, and we do still assess that the bull is very much here. Certainly for Bitcoin, altcoins you could argue perhaps not. But I think it's a bright day we've got ahead of us. And moving on to sort of monthly returns, you know, September historically isn't great. October, November, though, however, typically is. And actually, October, I believe, is the best performing month for the likes of Bitcoin. So we'll see what comes of this. Does REKTEMBER play out? Technically, it looks more likely to do so than not. Although you could hold support and just go sideways and drizzle off into a raging bull that's spurred on by, you know, institutional approval and all these kind of things. We'll see. So today, of course, is a big day. You got non-farm payroll. We had the ADPs on Wednesday, which are kind of like maybe, I don't really think they're that accurate in regards to predicting non-farm, I've found. But they came down in terms of employment. A weakening employment, lesser employment than the previous one is going to basically indicate and signal less rate hikes. And we know the markets are very much moved from rate hikes. We can look at rate hikes through the lens of the US 2 years, which has been doing very well. At resistance, it did reject like we expected it to. The dollar has been the pain in our side because this is the Bitcoin story, unfortunately. We know Bitcoin's transformative. We know it's amazing. Dollar down. Bitcoin up. Dollar up. Bitcoin down. Bitcoin up, which is really just the dollar down. Dollar up. Bitcoin down. So this is the story, unfortunately, guys. I hate the fact that it is. There could be times where we do go up with the dollar, but the dollar's the main story. Many people on YouTube do not factor in other market analysis when they try and predict the price of Bitcoin and figure out where it's going. It is like cutting off your right arm and then entering a swimming contest. You'd rather have that right arm to propel you forwards. If that analogy makes any sense. So, of course, a stronger number increases the probability of rates, which is going to increase the dollar. The dollar's been very strong, so maybe this is priced in already. If that is the case, the dollar needs to run out of steam. You've got Bitcoin here, just to do this very messy for you, and you've got the dollar here they're mirrored. Okay, so we want to see for the bull. Give me my pencil. The dollar do this. And that'll be correlated with Bitcoin doing this. Vice versa, the dollar does this, Bitcoin does this. And that's now, unfortunately, guys. And economic data is going to affect that. CPIs, all this other stuff. And we looked at the rise in the dollar strength's really been happening since the CPI rise. We looked at the preemptive and said, look, is inflation now back on the rise? Based on things like some of the commodities that we watch, like gold, oil, oil, wheat, gas, so on and so forth. I think we've done a lot of analogy on this. Potential stage ones. If you want to learn about stage analysis, please do consider becoming a Patreon. The last thing that I'm going to love and leave you on is a clip of Mr. Johnson, a congressional member, actually talking about the pathetic nature of the SEC. Let's go ahead and get into that, and then I'm going to love and leave you to your Fridays.
First off, we need a cop on the beat. Mr. Scott had noted that there are inadequate consumer protections. Well, let's be clear. Right now, there are no consumer protections. There are some, but there is no real cop on the beat. Some people might think the SEC is doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not. The SEC has never exerted or never asserted jurisdiction over the tokens or the products that make up 70% of the market volume in this industry now. There is no spot market regulator in this space today. This bill changes that. I would also note that we need certainty and predictability. I know a number of us kind of...
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The SEC has been given a lot of pushback in regards to their shambolic approach to crypto, and they seem to be ignoring a lot of it. They're losing more court cases than they're winning in regards to the crypto space. I think Coinbase is going to come out victorious. I think they're going to allow ETFs. I think this is all coming in the coming year, and it's going to be hopefully a great time. But we'll keep you up to date on that every single day on this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. On that note, have a wonderful Friday, ladies and gents, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.